Councilmember Davis. Present. Councilmember Hagedorn. Councilmember Kerr. Here. Councilmember Carmine.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Here.
Councilmember Bissett. Present. Mayor Ryan.
Here,
There are 7 members present.
thank you. First item is approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any changes or can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Aye. Yes. I'll make the motion since I'm allowed to. I'd like to add to the agenda, consideration of resolution 2024-66, consenting to the Summit County fire ban.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comment? Discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion has been carried. We will handle the resolution under resolutions as part of the normal agenda. And again, we've added that to the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the overall agenda? Councilmember Hay now.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? The agenda is approved. Now we have an opportunity for communications to council. If anyone in the audience would like to speak to council on any topic except for a public hearing, you're more than welcome to at this time. And if you do speak, please state your name, where you live, or your relationship to Keystone, and also please limit your comments to not more than 3 minutes.
Hillary Hoffman, Mountain Hills Key Condo. I just want to say thank you for allowing us to speak earlier today. I know it was ordinary, but I do appreciate it. And I do appreciate the passion and effort that everybody put into discussing the matter at hand. That's it.
Is there anyone online who'd like to speak? In that case, I'll declare communications to council closed. Now we move into the consent agenda.
The second leads are not like trying to speak.
Is council acceptable to council to reopen communications to council?
Yes.
All right, you may begin.
My name is Julie Olson, and I live in Longclaw Village. I don't understand how this works, but I can't believe that I almost missed doing my public comment by 20 seconds. So I also have to mention that I came to the work session last time and wasn't able to make a public comment. So I brought my big notes. First of all, I'm just gonna say, one, I think that it needs to be made a priority to get on the topic of pausing development in Keystone as soon as possible. Without question, it's not gonna shut our town down for business. People wanna be in our town bad. But we gotta get ourselves together in more ways than one in order to make this town what we all want it to be. So I think that pausing that ASAP should be one of the top priorities, and I think it would be pretty. And then I'm addressing this issue that apparently has already changed. The bylaws about in-person meetings. And I think that town council members need to be in person. And we set that up in the town council, or the town charter, and voted for it because it's important to all of us that are full-time residents that our council members are here. when we want them to be. And, I just, allowing virtual attendance will set a negative precedence to future members because all of you won't be on the council forever. And so anybody that wants to have a say in Keystone could change their voting and then just do their meeting online from their real house somewhere else. I know that all of you have good intentions and have reasons why that you've met up, but this is very important to us. Finally, I think that it's difficult to see people's behavior when they're on camera versus off camera. And when you're on camera and coming virtually, seeing, we like to see your reactions to what else is going on in the room. And the communication between council members, and tone of voice and facial expressions, body movements, that stuff portrays a lot when a person is speaking. And I think that that's why it needs to be in person, because if we miss something like that, then we're missing a whole load of stuff in the background. And so I was going to, say more, but that's all. But I appreciate you extending that comment section for me. Thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.
We're now into the consent agenda. Does anyone have any recommendation to remove anything from the consent agenda? Councilmember Parmack?
If I can ask a question, within the term that, as part of the model traffic code, there's the, automated vehicle identification system. And I believe that requires designation of enforcement areas. That's something we should be doing now.
No, it's something that you can do separately from the adoption of the model traffic code. Using that automated vehicle or automated enforcement system, ADIS, there's going to be multiple steps to that. You're also going to need to get a contractor involved to do that process. So it'll be multiple steps.
So we want to. That's all I have.
Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Councilmember Davis?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Motion is carried. We're now into new business, and we're in consideration of the ordinance on second reading associated with ordinance 2024-11 and ordinance of the town council of the town of Keystone, Colorado, creating a process for establishment of boards and commissions. With that, I will.
I think Councilmember Sullivan had something to say. Sorry.
Oh, Councilmember Sullivan.
Okay.
Sorry, no, I was just making a correction on the minutes. On the vote to call up the River Outlook Court, it says 0 nays, but there are actually 2. Just a correction.
We'll consider that an administrative change for clerk is allowed to make. Back into, so I will now declare the public meeting, the public hearing open on the ordinance and ask the town manager to please present.
I will let her.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, Jennifer Matson. So before you tonight, ordinance 2024-0, O-11, establishing boards and commissions. This ordinance or topic has been before town council on a number of occasions. Talked about it in work sessions. Also, this ordinance was approved on first reading in September at the regular meeting. So the charter provides that the town council has the authority to create and disband boards, commissions, and committees and confer the powers and duties to resolution ordinance. And this ordinance does just that. The ordinance addresses key issues related to the formation of boards and commissions, what are term limits for the boards and commission members, vacancy processes, removal of the members, and meeting. In addition, this ordinance sets up two specific advisory boards, and that's the Trails and Open Space Advisory Boards and the Business Advisory Board. Both of these boards are permanent boards of the town unless they're disbanded. So that's an overview of this ordinance, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have questions of the attorney? Is there any discussion? No, I'm asking council for questions at first. In that case, then we will now, as part of the public hearing, allow comments from the public on the issue. Again, we'd like to make a public comment. We'd ask you to again state your name, where you're from. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And with that, is there anyone who would like to make a public comment? Seeing none, I'll declare the public comment period closed, and I will close the public hearing portion of the consideration of the ordinance. And now we can deliberate on the ordinance. Again, any further discussion? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Did you,
No, I was just gonna make
or council member,
I have a question.
council member Kerr?
I come, sorry,
Anything? Okay.
I'm excited with this. I've been asking about this since our second meeting, and it is appropriate that we move deliberately to do this. I thank the attorney for coming up with a process that this ordinance, right, addresses for how we will do these two boards and or any future ones. Because this was a question that came up at the coffee house members on Tuesday, I wanted to call out the fact that the Trails and Open Space Committee will have 5 seats, and it's open to residents or property owners. I think that was worthwhile addressing. And then the second thing is the 5 members of the business advisory board will either be business owners, employees of the owners, or interesting members of our community with business experience. So I look forward to working with both of them. Thank you.
Is there any other comments? Councilmember Davis?
Can I make a motion?
But
Motion to approve ordinance 2024-11, an ordinance of Town Council of the Town of Keystone, Colorado, creating a process for establishing boards and commissions.
Councilmember Kerr.
I second motion.
Motion second. Is there any discussion or debate on the motion? The only comment I have is I believe that both of these boards are widely needed in this community. The trails and open space, I think will have, committee will have an opportunity to fundamentally help shape the future of trails in the open space in the town of Keystone. And the Business Advisory Committee, I think, has an opportunity to provide invaluable advice to council when it comes to what they believe this town needs to do to support them and make them successful, which then relates on to make them successful, and this is very viable. So with that said, if there's no other comment, I'll call for a vote. All those, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Davis. Approved. Councilmember Hagedorn. Councilmember Kerr. Approved. Councilmember Barnett. Councilmember Sullivan.
Approve.
Councilmember Fister. Approved. Mayor Riley.
Approved.
There are 7 votes to approve.
I think this is the watershed moment for the town as we're starting to reach out into the communities, get advice and support us for the future. So I applaud the entire council for our vote this evening. The next item on the agenda is the resolution, and it's resolution 2024-66 consenting to the Summit County Fire Ban. With that, I'll turn it over to the town manager.
Okay, so this morning, or actually early this afternoon, the Board of County Commissioners approved the resolution putting the county in a stage 1 fire ban effective 12:01 a.m. this Friday night. Under state law, county laws do not apply within municipalities unless there's consent. It's questionable whether a new ordinance was consented to when the IGA was formed. So we'll just things cleanly by consenting. The standard practice in some counties, the county and the Forest Service are both going to be passing this ban, just as Dillon Range is in Summit County. The other municipalities will then pass a resolution consenting to the fire ban being enforceable within the municipality. A stage 1 fire ban means no open fires, no smoking unless you're in an enclosed vehicle or building, designated outdoor area, no fireworks, no explosives, disposal of any burning object outdoors is prohibited, including cigarette butts, cigars, and ashes. No chainsaws unless they have a spark arrestor or an electric chainsaw. And no commercial or industrial operations, blasting, grinding, welding, or operating torches without being in a cleared area at least 10 feet in diameter and keeping a pressurized fire extinguisher with. This resolution would consent and approve adopt the fire ban as effective within our area. It would also allow if the county make changes to the fire ban, we wouldn't have to come back to readdress the issue. Not approving this resolution most likely means that the fire ban would not be enforceable within Keystone Town.
So, when the sheriff makes his recommendation or terminates or changes the level, then it would not require another resolution. The town manager would then be empowered to implement that change.
Correct, they changed to automatic.
Automatic. Okay. Councilmember Davis.
I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this for months. Yeah, but I do have a question. How are we going to get the word out quickly to everyone, particularly, I'm thinking of the HOAs, and Keystone? And second question, why are we waiting until Friday? Or why are they waiting until Friday?
Do not know why.
Sheriff this morning indicated that he's waiting till Friday because that's when the Ranger District will
Yeah.
be able to, go through their process to implement the fire ban as well. And it's a standard thing apparently with these fire bans is that, the BOCC has to approve them. And then because they're now working in concert with the, Dillon Ranger District, they want them to go in force at the same day, in the same time.
I think there was a reason, I was just curious. Do we have a plan for getting the word out other than the website?
Website, everything else. This will be heavily publicized. It'll be in the paper, it'll be on all the variable message boards as you come into the county.
If you could send it to me, I will send it to AOA and see if we can get it out to 62, 63, HOAs that belong. Because it's very important that they post that on the door since there are visitors.
Councilmember Permit?
It is so dry. But the good news is that you can wait until Friday. It is at least cool at night and copper basically snow last night.
Any other comments? Before we vote, or go further, I'd like to ask the town manager, please, discuss with council the meeting that the session that he and I, by chance, happened to be able to listen in on, with all of the fire managers in basically Northwest Colorado as they were discussing the state of affairs of the force.
Yeah, it was, we had a meeting with the sheriff, deputy sheriff today, the mayor and I did. And during that meeting, the sheriff had to participate in a phone call with the various sheriffs and fire control people in the Colorado, upper Colorado, they call it. And that's basically from Kremlin down to Mesa County. Includes Rio Blanco County, Eagle County, Garfield, and Pickton County. A lot of our firefighting resources are gone. They're done for the season. They've let them go. So the state of Colorado is pretty limited on our ability to fight fires right now. And in fact, there are several people, not necessarily fire, but emergency responders from the various agencies who are back in the southeast responding to hurricanes. So this fire ban it's very important because this late in the season, the resources aren't there that were there even a month ago.
And I'd like to also point out that this is the only area in the region that is implementing the fire ban. And according to the sheriff, the science has now justified the initiation of that fire ban with the moisture content and everything else. Is highly driven by the altitude that we're at up here tonight.
These fire bans are not done on the whim. They are done on hard science. What's the combustible levels, what's the forecast, what's our humidity levels, our soil levels. The fact that we're higher than the rest of the country, the rest of the country, but certainly the rest of the fire district. Down in Mesa County, their leaves are still green on the trees. Up here, a lot of leaves are brown and on the forest floor, just ready to go. That's the littlest spark.
With that said, is there any other discussion or comment? And I've lost track of, we had,
Have a motion.
can I have a motion to approve Councilmember Hayden?
I move to approve resolution 2024-66, consenting to Smith County Fire Day.
Is there a second? Councilmember Christie,
I second.
moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Then I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor of approving the resolution 2024-66, please raise your hand. I believe that is unanimous. By a vote of 7-0, the resolution is approved. The next item on the agenda is the presentation of the budget, and I'll turn it over to the town manager.
So attached in your packet is a draft version of the fiscal year 2025 budget. This is a state requirement that the budget be presented to the board. At our next meeting, we will hold a public hearing to get input from the electorate in our community. The budget is available at Town Hall if anyone would like to come in and go over it, or it's available online package. The fact that we are holding a public hearing, I want to make very clear, we will still take input from the electorate until the time the budget is approved. It's not in the public hearing format. After the public hearing, I plan on having town council workshop on November 11th, where you as a council will dive into the budget with a very detailed code. We'll go over some of the details. The budget as presented will definitely have significant changes because I tried to write a budget that includes both if the 2% lodging tax passes and if the 2% lodging tax doesn't pass. So by the time we get to the workshop, we'll know one way or the other, and I'll make significant changes to the budget. There's no reason to take any action or discussion at this meeting. This is just formality, letting the council and the public know that there is a fiscal year 2025 budget out there. It's one way or the other. I think we're still looking very healthy, whether the tax passes or not. I have to praise all of you for the initial 2024 budget and the projections of Mayor Riley did a spectacular job of making this budget significantly easier than I anticipated for our first full year fiscal budget.
Is there any questions or comments about the council? Any questions? Councilmember Kerr.
So if you look at this, it's very exciting. We're supposed to be in $4.5 million revenue that we can spend. But in fact, some of that revenue, it's restricted. What's the number? And I've been over this. So pardon me if I just pull it out automatically. But what is the number if we increase that 4.5 million by the revenue that is for which expenditures are restricted? In other words, the tax. In other words, the affordable housing.
The affordable housing tax actually is its own distinct fund.
Okay, is that not included in this one? Okay, that's good to know.
And the other issues like the nicotine tax. All in all, I would estimate our restricted budget is probably less than 400,000.
Yeah, our restricted budget, items that go into the restricted budget would include the roads and bridges tax, the highway users tax fund, those would be dedicated to, road, basically roads, maintenance or infrastructure, and the nicotine tax. So it's a relatively small number of dollars, but they're doing general fund purpose. So we don't, it doesn't have to do,
Yeah, those restricted funds would be combined with general funds. Issues addressed under the general fund.
So you're saying it comes in as special taxes, but it becomes part of our general fund, though, you know?
For instance, highway users tax fund. And that's a complicated issue in and of itself that I'll describe as this. Because of the way they determine what the highway users tax fund is. That's gonna be approximately what we estimate $66,000. We're gonna spend significantly more than $66,000 on items that money is designated for. If we weren't, that money would just have to sit and continue to be accounted for in the fund. So,
So that money couldn't be used for another purpose if we didn't need it in this first year. Good, okay, great. Thank you.
tax as well falls in that same category. And that's
Yeah,
roughly
I just wanted to call that out because
70.
everything is considered general fund.
yeah,
Available for any purpose.
most of those funds that aren't available for any purpose are called out of the special funds.
correct. And things like the grants obviously have to be spent.
That's just, right.
Any other comments, questions? Three questions. Any other comments, questions? All right.
Commissioner,
So, this line.
okay.
All right. With that, the next item on the agenda is the report of the, well, first, are there any planning matters?
No.
No planning matters. Then the next item is report of the town manager and staff, and I'll turn it over to town manager.
Okay, we've had a busy 2 weeks, especially considering I was out for about a week of it. Our SDR renewal period is done. We're still processing and working on those, especially with the large management companies. Our town clerk is just a fabulous job. Very few problems. Most of the problems we did encounter were user error, people trying to renew on the county website as opposed to the town's website and issues like that. Our town clerk did a spectacular job. We should have plans for the East Keystone Bridge repair in this week, and we'll be getting a contractor. This is an emergency situation. It has to be done before the winter hits. So we'll be getting a contractor as soon as possible out there to fix where it's sloughing off. The county is still assured us that they're replacing the guardrails, bridge, where they're damaged on the southeast side. Earlier this week, we had the mayor's manager's commissioner, or that was last week, we had the mayor's manager's commissioners meeting. It was a pretty limited meeting with a lot of people complaining about the Summit Daily News's new policy on accepting submissions from municipalities and refusing letters on local elections. So the managers, mayors, and commissioners are drafting a joint letter to the Summit Daily. Asking that they revisit their policy, especially on receiving information from municipalities. It's free content that the readers are interested in, and that it's important they find out. So we were big befuddled by
It appears whole purpose of that restriction is to try to force the municipalities to buy enough space.
To talk about what's happening in the town. Last Friday, Commissioner Parmet and I were both at the ski areas annual COO meeting. It was very informative, very funny. I started looking to get more passes, like I was thinking what I had doesn't mean enough. It gets you psyched up for the season. It has, Alan Henshaw made the comment that they're expecting 24-degree weather and 3 inches of snow on Saturday. And immediately after, the GM from Loveland said, well, I got the text from Joel saying we're getting 4 inches of snow next 23 degrees. So it's, I got to meet our new GM, Shannon Euler, there. The mayor and I are sitting down with her tomorrow morning. I actually last Friday also spent time with our new director of operations. Golf 9 holes with her, I guess that was Sunday. Golf 9 holes with her before the ranch closed. I'm very excited to have both these people here. They work together in North Star, and what they did for the summer activities and tourism in North Star is really nice. And in case you haven't seen, Vail Resorts announced they're cutting 14% of their workforce on the front range in the Broomfield office. Our hope is that it allows more autonomy at the local resorts, not just that the work is pushed down to local resorts with no more autonomy. But that's their decision to make. So upcoming meetings, and as discussed, the mayor and I met with the sheriff earlier today. I believe I sent out the call log. I'll double check and make sure. He said that. Okay. It's quite amazing how many calls we get up here. You know, we are not, we're not Barney Fife with one bullet in his pocket here. We had close to 200 calls in the month of July alone. It's impressive how much they do. And we've all seen the presence on Highway 6. Mayor and I expressed our appreciation for that visibility.
In fact, it's interesting, the sheriff made a comment that as we've incorporated, there seems to be more excitement about around his deputies coming out here and actually doing patrols on 6 than there was before.
Yeah, don't know why, but there. So upcoming, as I said, the mayor and I are meeting with the GM, Shannon Bueller. And I had a nice laugh actually with her dad about both of us having adult children in our basement. We have the I-70 Coalition meeting Thursday, evacuation plan kickoff that we've discussed earlier for the county happens Thursday afternoon. I'll be meeting with the Dillon Police. We have a housing task force, which Andrew, our new planner, will be attending. I'll be attending the SCHA board meeting. And we have the Intermountain TPR meeting coming up before our next meeting. Coming up in the next agendas, next meeting, Alan and Tony C. from May Basin will be down here to talk with us. We're going to have opt-in to Proposition 123. We'll have our budget hearing. We have some planning issues, a CUP issue. We'll have the nuisance ordinance and our second reading of the model traffic code. In-house, we're working on the building purchase. After literally getting cut off probably 15 times with CBI because I had been on hold for too long, I finally got a cell number of someone, and they can't find their submission for the ORI number. So that's a high priority for me this week to get that figured out. I still have all the paperwork.
That's so that the 911 system, when call comes in, gets it properly allocated to Keystone, the town of Keystone, versus generic based on some geo mapping coordinates. So that's very important.
Yeah.
It certainly needs to be done by the end of the year.
Yes. We'll be wrapping up selection of our comp plan consultant. It's going to be a planning commission first, just for their recommendations. You will be the ones deciding. We'll be wrapping up our SDRs. We're renewing business licenses, liquor licenses. I know there's been some question about why even have business licenses. And it's important for the town to know who's operating here for several reasons. So we can cross-check against tax receipts, so we can ensure that the business is in compliance with our zoning regulations, our building regulations, and all of that costs a lot of time. And that's why we have business licenses in the first place.
Councilmember Kerr.
You renew these business licenses for which,
No, they've been renewed. There's questions about it.
but they've been renewed.
Yeah.
At what level?
No, we
We
do not
don't have this.
have business licenses yet.
Right,
So I was thinking about
right. The county doesn't have. So that should be something.
discussing next. My mistake. I misunderstood. Misunderstood that entirely. We're still working hard to get that, right? It looked like they were surveying for the Brightwood sidewalk today, so we expect to have plans from them in the next couple of weeks here. And we're going to be working on wrapping up all of our plowing contracts in the near future. We've been in contact with lots of contractors.
You know, I would ask that as soon as it's possible to publicly announce that Brightwood sidewalk between the lodge and Four Corners traffic light. That is something that the staff has been working on since incorporation with the developer. It was something that was removed from the original planning by Vail Resort because they didn't want to have to do long-term maintenance of it. And so, and the developer had indicated that they might be interested in, or might be willing to consider that. And the staff, I think, has done a marvelous job in pushing forward on that. But as soon as we can make a public announcement on it, and I prefer sometime in the next week or two, to make a public announcement and make a big deal of it.
Yeah,
That's the first portion of the sidewalk along Sixth in the town.
and I know that our community development director reached out to them again today. They give them a nudge to get that. As soon as we have the plans, they will make the announcement. And that's all I have till our next meeting, October 25th, which is after our next meeting, is Wine in the Pines 40th anniversary up here at the conference.
And they, in Wine in the Pines has asked the town to pass a resolution supporting the Wine in the Pines and their church. So we will probably be seeing that for consideration of the next meeting. Is there anything else from that?
That's all I've got right now. Except
Report of mayor and council members, Councilmember Davis.
Councilmember Kerr and I will be attending the first CML Policy Committee on Friday. Apparently, we're starting up now, because the legislature's going back into session sometime soon. And just got a whole packet of stuff. The other thing, Councilmember Kerr and I attended coffee with council on
Monday, we had 5 in attendance, and actually 3 were second homeowners. 1 was a full-time resident voter and an executive of the only nonprofit in Keystone. I'm gonna, Councilmember Curry, address a couple of things that they wanted to talk about.
Well, I had some great numbers. Thanks for the setup, except my computer died. So I'll try to remember. They did, there was one individual a couple of individuals who wanted to know about the sense of the town with respect to SDRs and the expectation that we would have them, which we have not. On the agenda. There was discussions about some frustrations with county planning decisions in the past, which we could remind them that it's no more. And we focused a lot on the next step for the town. Now that we've got all the structures and policy in place, the next big thing we'll be addressing is whatever we call it. I've heard various things about the comprehensive plan. Help me out here. Yeah.
Comprehensive plan and master plan are interchangeable.
Yeah.
Strategic plan, separate.
Right, but the bottom line is they were interested in how do we participate in this town, and that was the first big step, as well as the that we already have. So, if I can run on that topic. So, thank you, Council Member Sullivan. Sullivan had a good idea of the coffee with the council members. We've done it three months in a row now, that's my first, and pretty good participation, not so large that we couldn't have a in-depth conversation. Councilor Sullivan posed the question, should we continue in the mornings, 9 a.m. on first Mondays? I know we're not going to make the decision right now, but I want to propose based on what we saw that we continue with these morning meetings because it seems to work for folks. But we also consider maybe once a quarter or I'll propose once a quarter that we have an evening session. Well, that was a decision, proposal that came out of that meeting. I also noted, I sat on the BOCC meeting this morning, the Board of County Commissioners, and they too are going to address the idea of having some evening meetings because we would like the workforce to have equal opportunity if they would care to take it.
Councilmember Kerr.
Me again. Okay, I went to the Transit Authority meeting with the Countywide Transit Authority Board. I've mentioned this before, and ironically, I do not have more news to point out that the micro transit contract that the county has been working on for many months now is still pending finalization, as is the pilot plan. I've mentioned before, it's going to be 3 zones that they're going to operate this micro transit. And in short, it's the first and last mile. So when you live east from fixed routes, the micro transit can give you curb to curb service. It will not bring you to your workplace, but it will bring you to a fixed bus route. And it's app supported. Here's where it gets tricky for us. There's 3 zones. One is Silverthorne and Dillon block combined. One is Frisco, and one is Ridge. What I would say is the transit director made the transit director made a presentation to the Board of Commissioners this morning, Board of County Commissioners. This is not finalized. There's still some details to be worked out, but I think the town manager and I are together in the idea of forcing them to consider Keystone. One of my concerns is if you needed, just here's an example, if you were on drugs, if you just had an operation or something, you had to get to the in Frisco. Never the not for transit zones down. So I believe that we identify the fact that there's and with everybody's interest, I think they'll eventually get there. This pilot may take a year to finalize, during which they're going to be assessing data and customer feedback. Last point, we talked a couple months ago about Keystone Resorts concerned that riders headed to a base and free parking in the free Keystone lot and taking the, what is it, Swan Mountain flyer up, free parking, and then take the flyer up to a base. So some states did actually look at that hard, and now there's going to be a direct bus between the Silver Thorn Transit Center and a base. Maybe that'll help. I will give you the details, but it looks like the winter schedule for some stage will start sometime in November. They established that. They haven't scheduled out yet, but it's worth paying attention because a lot of our colleagues are public transportation dependent. Thank you for this.
Any other comments? Councilmember Barnett?
Just a question. I thought I'd understood that they were considering two counterclockwise routes that would kind of replace some of the flyer activity that would in one of them ending a base, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you any more details.
Yeah, because I know the original proposal around I'm not sure how well supported that was, or people parking at River Run to Rite Aid Basin, but the original proposed solution was quite contentious because it was going to make it even harder to get a basin. For those who don't know, in our community, unless you happen to be in River Run, there is no quick or easy way to get to a basin from Keystone. Generally involves two buses, and the old transit route and the buses ran hourly, and the bus would pause at River Run both ways for 10 or 15 minutes, which created the situation where to take a bus from, say, Razor Drive to a basin was a 55-minute bus ride, which is insane. It's 5-minute car ride.
It's very difficult, but one of the original proposals had to do with pushing some of that parking throughout town. So glad that that's not what we're doing.
Oh, yeah, I heard some of the ideas were like, oh, well, they're gonna make the only way to get to a base like a bus stop in front of Snake River Saloon, which makes 0 sense. Thankfully, that did not happen.
I would love to be more clear, but as soon as it's scheduled.
Thank you.
Any other comments? As the town manager indicated, we had the mayor manager's meeting last week. I just wanted to point out some information or facts that we picked up. One of them is on Swan Mountain Road. The county did not get the federal grant they applied for. And so the Swan Mountain Road will be done over 3 years, 3 segments, to spread the cost out. The county is in the process of asking for a waiver on Prop 123, the affordable housing state program, and the waiver they're asking for is to allow income levels to go up to 100% AMI, which I believe Frisco received the waiver for that. There's some expected pushback from a particular influential company down in Denver who does a lot of consulting support for the Front Range. Another factoid, 40% of the county's general fund goes to the public safety. I know that's surprising.
That's interesting. Did you say that again?
42% of the county general fund goes towards public safety. Blue River was successful, and the new speed limits have been posted and are being enforced in Blue River as of about a week ago. So, the last thing I have is I've been approached about the Ski Brotherhood ski week in here, which is at the end of February, about 1,500 skiers from around the country. And they've asked if we have anything that volunteers from the Brotherhood could do while they're here supporting the community. So, but if you have any, ideas, I'd ask the town manager to gather those, and also have reach out to the other towns, and the nonprofits if they do follow. That's all I have. I think that ends mayor council. With that, let's go to other matters. Councilmember Hagemeyer.
I would like to bring up the conversation about Gorman and Company and possibly having them present to our council on the application process, administration, cost of unit based on income levels, and any other general information they would like to provide to us. Especially given the publications and news that they've been in recently with neighboring towns and similar income restricted and deed restricted neighborhoods.
We can do that. I just want to point out that the town, that nothing that Gorman and Company do has anything to do with the town of Keystone directly. It's all Summit County. It's the Lytec housing in Keystone, which is Summit County.
And well, that's true. I appreciate it. Love to see this deed restricted and live. All very violent, all very complicated. It's not a family thing. Future. It's not for us.
The restrictions, they executed it, and there are significant problems the government has executed from every municipality that they've dealt with.
On average, do you think it would be good to ask developers to present to with the significant amount of bed space they have in Keystone?
So what would be present, just registration for the management.
Well, we're about to get a report. The September report should be coming in shortly. The annual report. I see the community development director coming forward, and the town manager's permission. Go ahead.
The Keystone Resort PUD has specific language in it for annual reporting. And basically, they've been working on that. In fact, at tonight's meeting, I got the last piece of information that they actually needed to finish up the report. So I anticipate getting that within about a week. And we're going to go through an analysis of that report.
And that will be in executive session and disclosure.
Councilmember Gorman?
I just want to echo Councilmember Hagenau's interest and concern on this issue because I certainly have friends and know community members who have been negatively affected. If you didn't read the article today in the Sun, you read that. Better should be done by these folks.
I have a similar issue exists at Smith Ranch over in Silverthorne. Within the issue, of course, the Twitter green and the fire space.
Yeah, and the Wrecking Ridge, I can't remember which project it looks like the town's doing.
Faraday Vista.
Fairday Vista, close to $1 million.
And that's behind the latest development by the stables too. People were told they were moving in July, still don't have move-in dates, and their leases are expired.
The stable?
It's something in practice.
Oh, perfect.
So it's like our small challenges.
It's not our state, it's not our state.
Challenges that are happening otherwise across the county, maybe it would be great to start a relationship. It's great, so then understanding better about how to make down pensions, seasonal housing.
And we're going to be pretty much in depth over December, January probably. Will there, at the time, we'll explain Bill's role in that. And we'll discuss some of the other partners we've already had discussions with. And, developing our own deed restrictions and rules, with the help of some county housing authority.
And by the way, we do already have a relationship with Vail Resorts on how workforce housing, and the town is responsible for overseeing the workforce housing, all of their seasonal housing except for Sagebrush. Councilmember Permit.
We have bear issues in Keystone. The bear issues have been going on for a long time. There hasn't been a way to address them, except now we're a town and we can do it. We can do the right thing for our environment, our bears, our pets, and our people. We can keep our community free of trash tornadoes and strewn ripped up bags and dead bears hit by cars. We can do this. Other communities have done it in the mountains. You all received an email from me showing some really good policies out there, some ordinances that we could almost just copy. But the thing is, the biggest times for bear conflict are now and in the beginning of the spring when they wake up and they're super duper hungry. And if we want to make changes, and if we want people to have a reasonable time to react to that ordinance, we need to get it done ASAP so there's time for people to come up to the solutions that are needed. And so my recommendation is that we move on a bear safe ordinance for our community and that we prioritize it. And rather than simply putting it in line with other ordinances or having it wait for the rest of the nuisance ordinances, that we give it priority of our consideration and work session with council. And I move that we add this to our next work session agenda.
Do you have any comments?
Just a couple comments. Enforcement is an issue, even if we have the law. And I forgot to say this in my report. Just today, I was in contact with Hannah Grimes, who is in charge of law enforcement for CPW for the area. We're trying to get her to, she will be coming up here and dealing with some of our most egregious problems. And I'm trying to get her to come speak to you as a council, but yeah, trash kills. Colorado Parks and Wildlife.
What about given the items on our agenda in the next few months? What do you think about space of starting, say, next meeting on the work session for an ordinance or bears or any other solution?
I haven't read bear ordinance before, so I can cut and paste that pretty well. It should be relatively easy.
All right. So, Aaron has made a proposal to have a bear ordinance discussed at the next work session. And I guess I'll turn to the council members and just by a raise of your hands, how many would support that? Unanimous. You have your guidance. Any other matters? Councilmember Liston.
I just want to take the council's temperature and see if anybody's interested in the tour of Mandarin. I provided dates and times. There's advocating for it, but I was asked by a member of the community and I wanted to follow up with all of you. Yes. So how can we handle this? Do you want to reach out? Do you want me to provide the gentleman's contact information so everyone can reach out individually? Do we want to?
Is it some formal tour that they get on? I have, so it takes us to decide to do it and they can take it. Don't you remember?
Or my email out?
If I can, I assume this would be scheduling and not following her. If the council emailed
themselves.
Yeah, they can email among themselves, but I would suggest that it would be then a notice meeting once you decide on the date.
Or we could do it in symbols or pairs.
That's what I was going to do. Well,
Symbols or pairs. Or apples.
That would probably, having it be in a notice meeting, I don't see as a major issue, it's just a matter of notice. Okay, so I think the agreement is, Councilmember Justin will, take the date information and, arrange to be sent to the council for those who are interested. I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of tours of Kindred. That's an interesting, interesting facility. It's a potential game-changing aspects of Keystone. Are there other, any other matters? All right, with that, I would like to ask for a motion to have us move into executive session. Councilmember Davis.
I move to go into an executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-6, 402, 4B, and 4E. I think that's a no. To receive legal advice concerning negotiation of a contract for road maintenance, as well as to determine conditions relative to negotiation of a contract for road maintenance services. Develop strategies for such negotiations and instruct negotiators accordingly.
Seconded, I believe I need 2/3 majority to move in. All those in favor of moving into executive session, raise your hand. So it looks like the vote is unanimous. In discussions with the town manager, we'll hold the executive session in this room as soon as it's cleared, because the IT is set up, and have you arranged a separate calling for council member?
we can use this call in into the extra and they won't be able to.
All right, great.
There to our investigators, I mean, that will adjourn meeting.
Oh, yes, and I will, this meeting, the meeting will be adjourned after the executive session. And for the council member,
Them out.
I would like to have a recess for 6 minutes to allow us to
Don't actually
deal with dinner.
know how to kick people out.